Hello, everybody. Welcome back to You've Been Josh with Josh. I am your host, Josh. It's episode 22. Hell yeah. Insert Taylor Swift meme. So I hope everybody's been having a great freaking week so far. Got a lot of new stuff happening in Ben Josh's life. Talking about myself in third person like a freak. We started new morning streams, which is going really, really well. I think I talked about it a little bit last week, but with Joy's new job, to be able to actually spend time with my wife again, we moved my schedule to Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. on twitch.tv/BinJosh. Come check us out. You'll grow your penis. But we're having morning streams now. It's really interesting. And I feel like they've been going well. I've been enjoying them a lot, and people seem to be enjoying them. And I'm hitting a whole different demographic now, which is super interesting. But I'm trying new things. I'm trying to change things up. Change things up, like as in, try some new things. Because if we're moving the whole schedule, we might as well try some new stuff. So something that I'm trying is we have like a new question of the day. Which that way is a conversation starter, gets things flowing in chat, and something that I really want to do, we've been starting, and it just kind of happened on a whim, is watching like an informational video, because if it's in the morning, something about me, at least for me, especially for the last year that I've been doing this full time, is in the mornings when I'm working on stuff, I try to learn something new, because knowledge is power. And so I normally have like a podcast on, or some informational videos, or like a debate going on in the background while I'm working. So it's fun to just watch like a funny, informational, kind of educational video at the start of stream. We've been doing them at the end, but I kind of want to do it in the beginning. We might do some Wordle games as well. But on top of that, indie games galore. I have so much time now to like do indie games, and the nice thing about indie games in general is the fact that they're shorter. They're not like AAA titles where you have to like spend 20 to 120 hours playing them to complete them. You can normally complete them in like 4 hours, which is perfect because my streams are normally 6. So I'm really enjoying that, because I can play like an entire game and people can watch it start to finish in one stream, rather than being like, oh shit, I wasn't here yesterday. What did I miss? Which I like that better than the longer games, in my opinion. For someone who has attention span, like just really bad attention span, having something that is easy to watch for a short amount of time it's a lot better for me, rather than something long term. But that's just personal. Update on the PlayStation goal. As you guys know, 2022, the goal is to get 200 platinums. Not in total, not from the start of this year to the end of this year. I think we started at like 117 or something. We just got 2 more last night for Jack and Daxter's Precursor Legacy, and Inked, which was a game we played yesterday on stream. So we're at 152 now. It's pretty freaking crazy. Slowly making our way. Only 48 more, and our completion rating, we only need 8% higher, and we're good to go. So a couple more games. I say a couple, but like 48 more games, and we got there. So we might actually have to bump the goal up, which I'm fine with, because the more the merrier. But on top of that, something that I've talked about before is the fact that with Joy's new job, we're gonna have to be moving, which is a good thing. There's pros and cons, 100%. But we're still looking for a new place. Our lease is up in May, so we got a little bit of time left, but we're looking for a new place to live. And we'll finally have a full-size fridge. And instead of living in a cube with the bathroom, we'll actually have separated rooms and a living room and a full-size kitchen. And it'll feel like we're humans. The studio apartment has treated us well, but we're ready to move on to bigger and better things, 100%. But as you can see from the title, we have a guest this week, and I'm very excited to have them on.
Hello.
What's up, Ox? How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. I'm like, thanks you for inviting me on. I feel honored.
No, I'm honored. I'm the one who's honored. To anyone who doesn't know, Ox is a fellow streamer, as well as one of my mods for my channel. Now I've gone through every single mod as a guest on the stream, which I'm excited for, and now I can move on to some other friends who stream. But out of all of my mods, Ox is the only one who streams himself, so go check him out on his Twitch, and check out his streams. A big Pokemon lover, just like myself.
Love the Pokemons, man.
Pokemon is so good. But thank you again, seriously, for joining me and for being on. Always, if you like to introduce yourself a little bit, now's the time, and then I'll give you a little bit at the end as well. But feel free to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you do. Just, give us the rundown. Shake us down, baby.
Well, my name's Ox, of course, or Xavier, if you want to know me a little bit more personally. I stream on Twitch, of course. I do mostly Pokemon because, I'm a big fan. Been playing that since I was a kid. Super fun. I'm a giant. I'm 6'5". And I think that's the extent of my presence, I suppose. Just
I'm a giant.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. How long have you been streaming on Twitch now?
Ooh, I've been going since October 2021, so good couple months now.
Yeah. God damn. I remember when you started.
Yeah, it's
that was because you started like right before I met you.
Yeah,
which is just a crazy thing, it's time flew by so quickly, dude.
It really does. I always feel weird about that. Like I always look at when I started, I'm like, oh, I wish I could have my old VODs, but I don't have them anymore because the 2 months before they expire. It's so disappointing because I want to see them again.
No, I 100% agree. That's why clips are such a good thing, because they capture certain moments that from back when you start, But the other sucky part is that like when you just start out, you don't have people who are normally watching you, so you don't have people to clip that old stuff. So those clips, those few and in between clips that you find are like gold. But no, what I was talking about before I brought you on is about moving, and what is your experience with moving? Because we talked a little bit before we started this call, and you said that you had moved a bunch, which is crazy. How many times have you moved? Where have you moved to? Like, where are you situated?
Well,
don't dox yourself, but
yeah. Oh yeah, I just live here.
This is my address and my zip code and everything.
Yeah, I've moved a whole lot. So I was actually born in Victoria, BC, in Canada, and then when I was like 4 years old, we moved to where I'm living now. I won't say the city, but we are living there now, and lived there for a while. We ended up moving a whole lot. I couldn't count the number of times we've moved just living here, but we've lived in many apartments around here. I feel like I've probably lived on every street in this city. But we ended up moving back to Victoria when I was like in grade 4, I think. Which it's a long drive. We ended up taking a drive rather than anything else. So it was like a 5-day trip across the country, basically. And then we lived there for like 7 months and then came back to where we are again. And yeah, I've also moved to America. I've been in New York before. Maybe not like the best parts of New York, but
was it towards the city, or was it like in the state, like the region?
In like America, in New York.
Yeah. Was it like somewhere random in the state, or was it like in New York City?
No, not in New York City. I wish. We lived in a place called Utica. I don't know if you know what that is.
I do know where Utica is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't a great experience, but it was something.
Yeah.
Living in America is definitely
something different. It's
so.
different. I can't imagine living anywhere that's. I mean, I've never lived anywhere that's not in America. I've only lived in places in America, so like, I can't even imagine like living in somewhere that's just everything is different. Yeah. But it's such an interesting thing. But like, what I wanted to talk about today, because I thought this was just an interesting conversation to have, was just like everything goes along with moving, and then like just the things that go along with moving that people don't talk about normally. Because everyone's when you hear moving, you're like, oh fuck, like packing up and unpacking and like, oh, well, the perks are you get to reorganize and redecorate your house and like that. That's always like the thing people talk about, but there's so many other things that go along with it that a lot of people don't realize, especially for one, being as a kid moving, but then as an adult moving is a whole different thing as well. But There's pros and cons. Like for me personally, I hate packing. I hate packing so fucking much. But the moving in part of it, I love. I love unpacking and like redecorating and like finding things that you want to place places. Like I love that part of moving, but the packing part, that dude, moving the items. Not only am I like a perfectionist, so like the little things, like whenever I move, I have like 30 blankets wrapped around like my PC or like my TV or like my
Yeah, yeah.
consoles, and like because I'm so worried they're gonna break. And I never keep the boxes because I don't have the fucking space for that, you know. And
Mhm.
so like it always worries me, and I hate that whole process of moving, especially long distance, because you never know what's gonna happen. There's always bound to be like one thing you leave or you break, or
Mhm.
that just sucks ass. But personally for me, moving wise, um I've moved a lot into like around Pennsylvania specifically. I grew up I lived in Mechanicsburg, which is near Harrisburg. And then I moved to Gettysburg, which is where I spent majority of my childhood that I remember. And
Mhm.
then we moved from there to like north central PA up towards like Williamsport area, which were like the boondocks. We lived in the mountains. I lived in a tiny ass town that had like one stop sign. That was all we had. It was so fucking small, dude. It was so fucking small.
Man.
Um, but then I moved from there to here. Well, no, I moved from there to Florida, which was like 5 miles from Orlando. So that was like a whole different experience because not only was it like on the other side of the fucking country, it was also just like everything is different down there. It's more of like a city life, which was just a weird experience. And then I moved back up to where I used to live, in this small town, and then I moved to where I am now, which is I like the east side of Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and now I'm like settled down. But now we're gonna be moving again. Now we're gonna be moving again. Woo!
Are you
Oh,
excited for that?
oh no, I'm excited. Not only it will be a nice change, but like his studio apartment was cheap and it was nice, but 3 years of being in here with like a mini fridge, with a
Oh yeah.
dog and a wife, it's just not substantial living.
Yeah, every time I hear you talk about the fridge, it's so funny to me. You're like, "I'm gonna have a normal sized fridge," and I'm like, "Oh my
It
goodness."
sounds so dumb and simple, but like honestly, when you're trying to like trying to buy in bulk to save money, there's
Mhm.
only so much space you have. So it's like fresh ingredient wise, there's not much you can hold.
Yeah.
So we have mostly just like pantry items and freezer items, and that's it. And it sucks because like I would love to have just like 2 bushels of scallions that we can cut up and throw into stuff, but we can't do that because there's not enough room.
Yeah.
So we have like
That's
milk,
understandable.
water, condiments, and then like leftovers, and that's all we can fit. Um,
That's like
no, it's just such an interesting thing, but no, I'm definitely excited to move. It's just interesting. um, no, but so those are the basic things. Now everyone listening, now you've heard our experiences with moving. Now let's talk about the things that people don't talk about, such uh as a kid when you move, when you're a child, a wee lad, and you move, it's like uprooting your entire world because up to that point when you're a kid, that's all you know. That
yeah.
place that you were living at, like your home, your friends, your activities, all that stuff. When you move, that's life changing. You're like, fuck, what the hell? You get so pissed off at
Yeah.
your parents. You're like, I don't want to move.
Yeah, I hated it. I
Dude,
hated it so
same.
much.
I hated it so much. But then also, the thing that people don't want to talk about is not only is that like such a like kind of traumatic experience, you have to like really like find it in yourself to move past it and like
Mhm.
get over it. But then trying to stay friends with the people you left while
Oh yeah.
also making new friends is the hardest thing. Like I've, at least for me personally, I don't know, I'll get your opinion as well, but like whenever I would move, I would try for a little bit with the previous friends, and there'd be like one or two that would actually I would stay in contact with, but then all of my attention would be diverted to like the new friends
Mhm.
because and I would stay in contact every once in a while with the people like that one or two people that I'd stayed with, friends with, but like all of my attention would be spent with those new people because you just don't have enough time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What was your experience with that, like when you've moved?
I would say I had a very like somewhat similar but also different because I have like always been a shy person. I'm just like
Mm,
very reserved, which is the funniest thing because I'm this giant person, but I'm just like the most quiet person in the background all the time. So
mm,
anytime I move, I like hate it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to make new friends
yeah,
again. And like so I would just like most of the time just like somewhat talk to people, but at the same time just keep to myself and then I would, like, talk to my old friends on, like, PlayStation or something when we were, like, off school, and then we'd just be playing games, but that was just, like just because I was a shy person, I never wanted to make new friends, so I was just, like, hoping, and most of the time, like, after moving enough, I just think, "Oh, yeah, we're just gonna move back to, where we lived before," because it just happened so many times, so
yeah. And that's interesting because like I've talked about this before, but when I was younger, I was really shy. I was really, really shy. And I've slowly gotten more like extroverted, but I'm still pretty introverted. And so I'm only really outgoing when I'm with my friends.
Mhm.
Um, in stream, I feel like is different because like not only is it like a show, but it's also like I don't have to interact with them like on a like a physical level, you know? So like I'm
Yeah.
not there with them and I'm not getting their energy. It's just people in chat, like it's just names to
Yeah.
me. Like
Yeah.
it's not that sounds fucking awful, but at the same time, like you understand, you stream.
Yeah.
Like they're just names,
Uh,
so it's not as hard to be like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, because like whenever I'm in your stream, you're super energetic, but like but I know you're a shyer guy, you know?
Yeah,
Um
I'm always very quiet. It's tough, man.
it is tough, yeah. But no, it's interesting because like whenever I'd move, I try so hard to like stay friends with the people that I had been friends with, but it's just so hard, especially with like life in general, because it there's so many things changing constantly in your life, especially growing up, that it's just hard to keep in contact with those people or make friends because you've got just so many things going on, especially during like high school, and you're trying to
Mhm.
find yourself and learn who you want to be. And then like what I was saying is even when you're an adult, man, because like now I'm fucking married. Yeah, I'm married fucking young, but like at the same time, I'm home all the time and I still don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
My extent of the people I talk to is on stream and then things like this. Other than that, like it's just joy. I don't
That's
talk
fair.
to anybody. And it's not the fact that like I don't want to talk to anybody. It's just I always forget or I the time that I do have that is free, I just want to lay down in my bed and watch some TV. You
Yeah,
know, like
that's
I just
understandable.
it's not the fact like, and that's the thing I always feel bad because then like I'll reach out to someone and be like, oh, I want you to be a part of this, and I'm like, wait, I haven't talked to him in like 3 months. I feel kind of like a dick right now.
Yeah.
Because like, what is it, Doug Nut? Another who's you're a mod for as well and a fellow streamer to anyone who's watching, he messaged me literally last night and he was like, hey, I got something going on, do you want to be a part of it? And I was like, I literally can't. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have the time right now. And he's like, no worries, no worries. He's like, also, I just realized our last messages together was me asking you to be a part of something else 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I was like, don't feel bad, like I get you completely, like I'm the same way. And it because it makes you seem very like you're just out to like what you can get out of people, but it's not the
Oh,
case.
yeah.
Like you're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
out of it. Like there's JP, who's one of my mods, Java Palette, and one of my friends, Jake Diak, who's been on my stream a lot, back when in the starter days. I don't talk to them like at all. Like JP, I only catch up with like once a month, and then what he does when he comes in stream. But like whenever we do talk to each other, it's just like we talked to each other yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
It's those type of friends that I always go back to because they understand, they don't get upset, and they're the exact same way. So it's really easy just to be like, "Hey, dude, how's it going? I got actually a fucking free minute, and I remembered." Like the biggest point is I remembered the message. How are you doing? What's new? And the thing is, because of the being that way, we always have things to catch up on because it's been months.
Yeah. I feel that, like, so much, especially with, like, all this Twitch stuff, there's so many people like that
Oh
I'm
yeah.
friends with. Just like some people I'm acquaintances with just from like the communities and stuff, and then just people I'm friends with. But it's like I don't talk to like a whole bunch of people like that I talk to when I'm in Twitch chat because it's
Mm.
just like, oh, it's like a different experience. And then like my friend Anthony, anytime we're talking, we'll just like be talking like we've been talking forever, and then we can go like a week, 2 weeks without talking, and then come back and talk like normal, just like you were saying with
Yeah.
JD or JP.
It's
So
nice. That I love that. And the
yeah, it's
thing is
really
like
cool.
the people that I do talk to on a regular basis that in chat and stuff, like it's not that like we don't vibe well or we don't have that same connection. It's just like we talk so little that frequently it's okay.
Yeah.
Because like Crimson and I, we talk probably like once every day, but it's just like a 1 or 2 messages. Like I send him something or he sends me something, or like I let him know about something and then he lets me know about something. And it's just those little interactions, but we talk like every day. But
Yeah.
but we're not talking that much. Like that's it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's interesting. I think everybody has a different flow to how they have their friendships and stuff. Because I know a lot of people have like those 4 or 5 friends that they talk to every day, all day.
Oh, yeah,
And they
for
never,
sure.
and that never changes. And like, I wish I could be that way, but I can't. Like, my brain does not compute that way.
Yeah.
I just, I can hardly remember what I'm doing. Like, I have like 6 notes. Have you ever seen my desktop? Have you seen it on stream?
I don't think so.
I have, wait, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes that are just like notes. Labeled different things, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 folders that have just shit in it
Oh
that
my
are
god.
for those specific
That's
things.
so funny because I have a shit ton of folders in my on my laptop, and then I have a bunch of files like on my phone that I look at just to like remember things. I'm like, I
Yeah,
can't remember all this stuff.
it's so hard. Do you put? You said you put notes on your phone too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be go. I have the podcast listed on my phone right now here because I wrote down some things to talk
Yeah.
about. But let me see. I have one for Twitch. I have one for the podcast. I have one for writing letters to people for stream, which is the channel point, because otherwise I will forget. And
Yeah.
huge shout out to Diswizzle Bears, who I have forgotten to send the letter out for 2 months. And then they reminded me and I felt awful. And then I sent it out. I sent their mail out, and my concierge dude, I call him concierge. He's just someone who lives in the building and takes care of mail. He
Yeah.
fucking threw away my outgoing mail. And so it didn't actually send, and now they're coming to visit because it's someone who's in the family. So they're getting their letter. I just feel like an asshole now because it's been
Oh,
so
yeah.
fucking long. And then I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 other notes that are all individual things. Like one's a song that I was writing for stream. One's quotes that I say when I'm sleeping, and so does Joy. One's passwords. One's indie games that I found. One's platinum games that I want to play. Like that's it. There's just like so many random things. If I don't have those, oh my god, my life would be a fucking mess, dude.
I love that. That's like the same thing on my Google as well. I have a bunch of folders and I just
Yeah.
bookmark everything.
Yes, dude. Chrome, dude. Just Google in general. Shout out to Google, dude. Shout out to Google.
Shout out Google.
Can we get a
man.
shout out for Google in chat, please? Can we?
That's incredible.
Dude, that's so fucking dumb. I'm sorry.
Shout out Google. Man.
Shout out Google Docs, dude. Fucking just Google in general. They have so many
Get
good
a
things,
Google
and it's
sponsorship.
free. Yeah, can we get a Google sponsorship? Google, do you want to sponsor our the podcast, please? Can we get a Google? Can we get a Google? Can we get a Google sponsorship on a Google podcast? Question mark. So fucking stupid.
Oh yeah,
dude.
I forgot we're on Google. That's incredible.
Yeah, we're on Google Podcast, guys. Check out the podcast on all streaming platforms except for iHeartRadio, what is it, Pandora, or whatever the fuck that old streaming service was, and iTunes, Apple Music, because Apple Music won't let me make an account for this podcast unless I have an Apple product, and I have no Apple products. It was like, you need to have iTunes to be able to put this on here. I was like, okay, cool. How do I sign up? You need to have an Apple product to make an iTunes account. I was like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to do that?
Yeah, that's silly. I love how you're shouting out the podcast on the podcast.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, check out the podcast that
Check
you're already
out the
listening to.
podcast. It's pretty fucking sick. If you haven't heard of the podcast, check out the podcast. Dude, my life is a fucking shamble. I don't know what I'm doing. Everything that I'm doing is I'm winging. I'm winging all of this. I'm 23. I have no fucking life. Anyway, back to moving. I can't. Oh, I'm done. It's such a weird fucking thing because as an adult, we talked about childhood. Let me get back on track. Derailed for being an adult. When you move, it's such a different thing because one, you're finding the place you're gonna live. When you're a kid, you don't have to worry about that shit. Your parents take care of that. You don't have to worry about rent, you know? So when you're an adult, moving is a whole other beast for the packing inside of it because you have to, one, find a place to live and find somewhere to rent and stuff that's not only a good price, but also has everything a part of that house or apartment or townhouse or whatever that you want. You have to get internet. You have to make sure that you have the deposits done. You got to make sure that they can have dogs or cats if you have a pet. On top of that, you want to make sure the area is a place that you like because you want to be able to be like, oh, if I want to go to a bar, do I have to drive 10 minutes or can I just walk there? You know, all of that whole side of it. But then on top of that, you have to like buy furniture. When you're again as a kid, you're just like, yeah, when I move there, my bed's gonna be there too. When you're an adult, you're like, I need a mattress. Holy shit. And dude, mattresses are expensive. I don't know why. Why are they so expensive? I don't understand.
Moving as an adult sounds so daunting. I've like only had to move once on my own, and then I ended up just coming back home.
Why not, dude? If I could live with my parents, I would.
Yeah, that's daunting. Like it's all new, and I'm like, oh, if I had to think about all that, I'd be stressed out.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know we'll be fine, but it is daunting for sure. Because when I moved in with Joy right before we got married, because yes, we moved in together before we got married. Ooh, scandalous. She was in a house with like two of her college friends, and I just moved into her room in the house with her. And then we got this studio apartment, which was the landlord for the studio apartment is owned by the same guy who owned her house. So it was the same landlord. It was a really easy process switching over the deposits, just transferred over. And then we have this place, which we've been in here for like the last 3 years. And it's been great, but like everything's included. So like we pay the flat fee and we don't really have to worry about anything, even internet. Whereas this new place, wherever we move to, like normally it's like, oh, we pay for electric and water, and then you had to pay for like garbage, heating, and internet. Like you have to do that yourself. So like, not only are you paying your rent, and you have to be like, okay, this as well, internet as well on top of that, and then on top of that, like each month is a random ass number for like heating, and then garbage. You know, like it's just random. Yeah. So it's like, how do you? Budgeting that is such a weird thing, you know?
Yeah, I'd be kind of spooked about that because like I know a lot of places here used to do like all inclusive and it was great, but now like for some reason they've changed it. I don't know like what happened, but over here they changed it and now it's like most places make you pay utilities and all that, and it's like it makes it so tough because it's already like expensive enough to try and find a place here, and then they add all that on, and it's just like, oh boy, I wouldn't be able to budget for that.
Another thing, hey, shout out Google. Google spreadsheets, they have like literally like coded in there to like deduct, so you can go into it and write down everything and it'll automatically deduct, so you can just put in like how much you're making each month, and it'll show you how much you will have left over with all of your bills taken out. And that's what I use all the time. Yeah, just so I can be like, okay, this is how much I'll have to be able to save or buy food with. You know? Dude, just money in general, being an adult is tough because like borrowing money to make sure you're okay, and then like making sure that you have enough money for bills, and like me wanting to do
taxes
this
and all
full
that.
time. Yeah, like I've there's been a couple of moments where I've been like, all right, maybe I should just get like a part time job
Oh yeah,
to do because it adds up so quickly. You know,
yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
understandable. It really does. Like, I don't even like. I'm lucky enough to live at home. Like, I'm super grateful that I get to actually just live at home and be able to do my own thing while my mom pays for the rent and all that. At least right now. And then she said that all I have to do right now is just like look for my job, save some money, and then a couple months I'll start like paying rent. But it's not even that bad. So
Yeah,
it's
dude.
nice.
Shout out parents. They're
Yeah.
fucking. Not only do they take care of you for a huge portion of your life, then they continue to take care of you.
Yeah.
Dude, well the thing is when I turned 18, I did the juice bar.
Mm.
And I literally lived in my car while I did that. And
Oh yeah.
I was attached to a gym, and so I would shower in the morning and get changed in the back in the gym area, and then do the job, close up, get in the car and sleep. And I did
Damn.
that for like a long time. And then I had to close because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I was really bad with my money. And so I had to
Yeah.
close down, and I moved back in with my parents because they said I could, and I lived there for like a year while I paid off my lease and worked labor, and I did the lumber mill job for a long time. And
Mm.
if it wasn't for my parents like being like, yeah, you can just move in, I probably wouldn't be able to fuck. I probably would have been on my ass because I
Oh
with
yeah.
the payments that I had to pay to pay off my lease and all this stuff with the juice bar, from getting out of that deal early, on top of working, I wouldn't have had money to live anywhere. Well,
Damn. That's
and
crazy.
but like that's the thing, like, yo, now we're going on a whole different topic, but
Yeah.
dude, shout out to parents. Parents are fucking sick, dude.
Parents are
If
the
you're
real
being
ones, man.
disrespectful to your parents, you're a low human being. I don't
Yeah.
I know it's like really rash to say, but at the same time, no, because they fucking took care of you. Like
Yeah.
some parents are shitty. I'll give you that. Some parents are shitty. Some people neglect their child, but for the
Oh yeah,
most
for
part,
sure.
they're just trying to get like you know the stress of being an adult now, like having a child on top of that and making sure they're fed and clothed and being able to do what you want to do, like go to school and do activities, it all costs money. Like
Yeah.
if they're irritable, that's probably because they're stressed the fuck out.
Yeah.
So
A
cut
lot
them
of
some
people are
slack.
like struggle to deal with dogs, so like just imagine having a whole kid
A
in
whole
your
kid who's
house.
talking back to them every
Yeah.
fucking second because of hormones. Like, I respect parents so much. I remember I was a shit kid when I was little. I was such a little asshole. Like, I was like, why can't I go to the movies with my friends? And I'm like,
Oh,
I can't even imagine.
aren't we all just a bunch of assholes when we're kids?
We are, but we don't fucking know any better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't know any better.
We always think we're in the right, but we're not.
We're not,
We're not.
not,
We're
dude.
not at all.
Sometimes we are, but it's very small cases. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I know there's one person listening to this podcast who's like, actually, my mom was a
Yeah.
dick. I wasn't disrespectful in the slightest. Oh,
Oh man.
goddamn. Anyway, so moving's crazy. Moving's fucking nuts. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm nervous to move cuz I do want to move eventually like out of my mom's house, but I don't think I'm going to live in this city anymore when I do move. So
Yeah,
that's even more spooky cuz I'm like I don't know where I'm going to go, but also I'm going to be like far away from family and
yeah,
it's just going to be something else. It's going to be like a whole different experience. So it is nerve-wracking to think about moving and like have to worry about all that stuff, furniture and all
yeah.
the expenses and all that stuff.
It's that, so that's something that I wish would be talked about in like high school or college is
Yeah.
just adult skills, like learning how to use Google Sheets to learn how to do a budget, like taxes,
Mm.
how to look for an apartment and like take out a loan, like those types of things, because those are things that you kind of just have to figure out on your own if you don't. It's because like I was lucky enough to have like certain parents, like my parents were able to tell me those things when I asked,
Yeah.
but I know that some parents don't know how to do that. You know, like they weren't even taught either. So like It's or they don't have if you don't have a parent to like ask those questions too. So like
Mhm.
it's just like those types of skills and life of like events that you're gonna have to go through. I wish those things were discussed and like addressed earlier on in life, so you're kind of prepared for that.
Oh, yeah. I
Because it
completely agree with that.
yeah, because a lot of times the counter argument to that viewpoint is they're like, oh, well, you don't want to stress out kids before they like get out of the house, and it's like you should,
Yeah.
because otherwise they're going to be more stressed because you drop them on their ass and they're like, oh, I don't even know what that is. What's that word?
Yeah, stress them out,
Taxes.
but
What
then when they're adults, they're gonna be, like, prepared for it, so it's not gonna be stressful then. They'll be
exactly?
prepared, and they'll be able to live life just,
Or at
like,
least they'll know that
easily.
it's coming. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
rather know
Exactly.
something's coming that's bad rather than just all of a sudden it drops on my lap.
Yeah, "Whoa, what is this?
What? Dude,
Taxes?"
it's just fucking tuna in my lap, dude. What the hell? I'm not even near the ocean.
Yeah. I
Ugh,
think the big thing for me is I always, talk about taxes because I have no idea. I still have to do my taxes for, like, last year, and I'm just like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't done taxes before." It's just, something else to me.
it's a nerve wracking thing. My best advice for tax related stuff is a lot of the times, like especially TurboTax. TurboTax is awesome and it's free.
Mhm.
TurboTax has advisors you can call and talk to for a 30-minute session for free, and you can
Oh,
call
damn.
them and ask all of your questions. And I've done that twice now. If I have a question, especially for streaming, I called this year and I had a conversation with one of their consultants, and it was free, and it was just like a 30-minute call. I was just like, hey, so this is this is my situation. I have
Yeah.
no idea what form do I use? What do I need to send this in? Like how do I
Oh, right,
um
because you're basically, like you have to keep track of your own stuff because you're
yeah,
not, like,
dude. And
employed by
that's been a
anybody.
whole but one of my folders on my desktop is it's literally just says taxes, and I have every single receipt from everything because
Jeez.
like Twitch as my employer sends me like all of my stuff. They send me the
Yeah.
form that I need. Everything is pre-taxed and stuff like that, so I can see all of that and I can send that into the IRS. But then on top of that, all of my expenses are technically things that I've bought and cut into my profits. So I have to like list those, and then tips and
Damn.
donations are another whole boat where it's like some of these things are not taxable, but some of them are taxable. So it's just because gratuity is like a whole other thing. So it's dude, it's such a weird fucking
Yeah.
thing.
That hurts
And
my brain thinking about that.
so it's the same, dude, same. Um, but you know, like a lot of the tools and the information that you need to do those things are free online, and that's fantastic. But a lot of the times people don't even know what to look for, you know.
Mhm.
And I think that goes toe and toe with streaming related stuff too, because when I first started streaming, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I didn't know what the fuck I would need, and YouTube taught me everything, and I'm still learning things now that I can implement into streams that I'm like, holy shit, that's so awesome, and it's free. How the fuck did I know about that? It's because no one talks about it and no one knows
Yeah.
about this stuff, you know? There's a select group of people who do, and they do informational videos on it, and you find them and you're like, holy shit. But that's the same with like knowledge. And it's like these should be common known things that people know, but we don't. And that I
Yeah.
feel like that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree with that 'cause I always have to ask my mom when it comes to, like, pretty much anything for, like, adulting. It's just like, "Oh, there's a new thing I have to do. Well, I don't know what to do, and I don't know who to ask because, there's, like, no one really to ask." So I just go, "Hey, mom, can you teach me about this? Because 'Cause you've probably done it, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, I could teach you." And then she goes and tells me. So,
This is what you need.
yeah.
Well, you think about that whole like brand that does this for dummies, like cooking for dummies,
Yeah.
coding for dummies. Why don't they have a website, dude? Do they have actually I should look this up right now. Do they have actually I won't do that right now because we're in the middle of the podcast. But you know, like they should have something like that for idiots like us, which is just the whole of humanity. Let's be honest. Well,
Mhm.
they should have a site where if you need anything, they have a direct line of contact and info on that directly from that link. So you can go through anything and be like, how do I use a fucking washing machine?
Yeah.
Right there. Down. You got it. How do I change my tire? It goes right there. You know, because otherwise you have to Google that specific thing
Yeah.
on like YouTube, and normally you'll get like 50 results that are, some of them are really bad, or they're not actually like the actual thing you need. And
Yeah,
like
everyone has, like, different machines. "Oh, yeah,
yeah.
here's how to use a laundry machine," but it's like a $50,000 laundry machine. You're
Yeah,
like, "I
like
don't have that."
yeah, like how the fuck I got this rinky dink one, I gotta put quarters into my like really
Yeah.
shitty apartment building. What do I do? Um dude, it's so funny. Like I think these are skills that should be taught so early on.
Yeah, I
Especially because
agree.
we're already supposed to know exactly what we want to do with the rest of our life on top of that, you know?
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, on top of everything else, make sure to get your loans squared away after college. You're like, what the fuck? What? I don't
I've
even have a
always
job
hated
yet.
that question of being like, "Oh, what are you, gonna do with your life?" Like, when you're in high school, and I'm like, "I don't know, I'm 14.
I just
Why
learned
am I
how to
supposed to
tie my
know this?"
shoes. Do you fucking
Yeah.
think I know what I want to do with the rest of my life?
I still don't know what to do with the rest of my life. Like, I'm figuring that out,
Dude,
man.
I've jumped so many things. I jumped. I though, you know, huge shout out to Namir Comedy, but his whole bit with diversify your resume, like
Mhm.
portfolio diversification, like that whole joke, because he always uses that like, oh, we have fart jokes and stuff, and then he switches and he's like, no, we're here to learn. We're portfolio diversification. Everybody, as he's got like hemorrhoid things going on in the background, it's like a joke.
Yeah.
Trying to be professional. At the end of the day, it's something you do. Like for me, at least, like my resume is the fucking wonkiest piece of shit
Yeah.
in the world. Like I've done so many different things and so many different skills, to the point where if I go to any job and I hand them my resume, they look at it and they're like, because I've done so many things, but each one I've been with them for like a year and a half to 2 years, not like
Yeah.
an substantial amount of time. The only thing I've
Mhm.
stuck with like for a decent amount of time is like food service, you know? But even
Yeah.
so, half of that is when I was the manager, the employee, and everything else that went along with that, because I didn't have any employees at the juice bar. It was just me. Like I did
Oh, man.
everything. And so like you can't really sum that up in a resume, you know? And
Mhm.
so, and also it failed. So is that like even a like, can that even be accredited? You know, like it's
Yeah.
just one of those weird things where like I've done, and I've talked about this in previous episodes. I've done like I worked as a photographer for a photography company, not even actually taking photos, just as the assistant. I worked at Michael's as a framing. Like I got certified in like framing things, as like shadow boxes and like actual frames and cutting the glass and everything. I've worked at the lumber mill where I just literally threw fucking wood on pallets. I did the juice bar where I was the manager of that. I've done. I was gonna go for theater for school, and I went to a magnet school for it. I got trained in like actual like theater arts. But
Uh-huh.
then like I worked at Walmart and I've worked at Starbucks, and now I do this full time. It's like when you look at my
Oh, yeah.
resume, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh yeah, and then when I was younger, I did the balloon animals in the fucking button business. Like it looks like I'm a fucking clown, dude. My resume looks like absolute dog shit, and
You've just
it's
been
such
all
a
over the place,
all over
yeah.
the place, and it's such like it's so hard to like. Hey, yeah, here's my resume. I'm applying to be a dog groomer. Like, like it doesn't make any sense. Um, it's just I feel like there's so many skills and there's so many things that you should be able to learn early on, because I feel like it would help, especially like resume building and stuff.
Mhm.
Going along that same line of thought is, I didn't know how to write a resume and I didn't know how to fill it out. And like there's so many different variations on how you should do it as well, that it's hard to figure out like what is the right one. It's kind of like up to personal opinion as well.
Yeah.
It's such a it's so weird, dude.
I struggled with, my resume, and I was like, "I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know how to format it. I don't know any of that." And then I was like, I asked my mom, like, when I was, like, 15 or something, she wrote me my whole resume. And then, recently, actually, because I wasn't, like, doing anything, I went and did this, like, work program, and they ended up teaching me how to do a resume, and, like, pretty much redid my entire resume, and now it looks pretty decent. And I know the general gist of like how to write one. It's still a bit confusing because I like, when I add stuff, I'm gonna have to like figure out how to word it and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
overall, I feel like I got to learn somewhat, and it's like I had to go to a whole like work program just to learn that. So,
It's crazy. Well, and that's the thing. And was that free?
yeah, I went for
Yeah.
free. I actually got paid for that.
Oh, nice, dude. Well, and that's the thing. Some things like that, they have like workman's classes and like courses you can take that are free. They have those online as well, and then they have like YouTube videos on like how to do stuff. And like
Yeah,
the knowledge is out there, and people teach this stuff for free. Plus, if you go to a library, there's normally a book on stuff as well. It's just like it's so much easier to find things online.
yeah,
Um, that it's just I feel like this should be readily accessible to people who are younger in like high school when you're trying to learn that shit. And like they
yeah,
should be like, hey, this is going to be coming up in the future. Here's some resources you can use to learn about them before you start. Because like I remember when I was in high school, I took some like there was like the gen eds, which are like your general educations, but then as some like extra credits, I took like a food safety cooking class in high school, and then there was
yeah.
one other one where it was just like resume building, which I actually did the resume. But why don't they have like one on taxes? They might do that now. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in school, but like
Yeah.
they might have that now, but I remember like I that was something that I wanted to learn, and I didn't have the opportunity to learn that. I also went to a really small high school, but still, like it's such a weird thing. Um,
Yeah, I remember going like grade 10 to for that like type of course, but it wasn't like a good enough course for like taxes and stuff. They like did a basic gist of like, oh, here's all these responsibilities you have to do as an adult, but it was like
that's it.
they did like a quarter of a semester of like what to teach us, and I was like, well, that's not enough to learn. That's not enough time to learn all that stuff. You're just throwing all this information at us and expecting us to retain it.
Yeah, I mean that's the public school system in a nutshell, though.
Yeah.
Here's all of the knowledge. Here's the test. Then we're moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. But anyway, moving past all the stuff we just talked about, which was a lot, and I hope everyone who's listening was able to retain that information that we just spoke about.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Um, Ox, tell me what got you into like gaming. Like, tell me your gaming experience, because like
Okay.
you something that you do on your stream a lot, which I love, is the Pokemon challenges and whatnot, like with Emerald and
Yeah.
Ruby and stuff, dude. That was like childhood for me. Like Emerald was my game. I played that shit
Hell yeah.
nonstop. What got you into gaming? What was like your first um your first game that you got? Like what was your first console? Talk to me, my friend.
Okay, okay. That's a tough one because it's been a decent while. So I basically just grew up with like the beginning of, I guess not the beginning because that'd be a long time ago, but I grew up with when video games were like popping off and like every person was making new consoles, new games, and all that stuff. So I kind of like started out because I think my brother and my dad like bought a console, like the GameCube or something, and we would play, I think Luigi's Mansion, which is like one of my all-time favorite games, and other games like that. And then my first console, like personally, was definitely the PlayStation 3, and I loved it. I would play FIFA all the time, sitting on there.
Hell yeah.
And I remember Christmas. This is actually a really funny story. Like a long time ago. I don't remember when, but me and my brother, it was like Christmas time, and we wanted DSs because it was like the new
Yeah.
portable device. We're like, oh yeah, let's get a DS. I really want one, please, mom, get us the DS. And so like we both, being kids, we look under the Christmas tree and we're like, looking at the presents. We're like, which one is the DS? We got to know. And we start like touching them. And I remember going to my room to go to bed that night because it was like Christmas Eve or whatever. And my brother, I remember hearing something. And I was like, "What's going on?" And I peeked down under, and my brother's sitting there with the DS playing. And I was like, "Oh no!"
Wait, so did he open it early?
Yeah, yeah. He opened it
Oh my
early.
god.
I ended up tattling on him. I went and told my parents, and they went and they like took it from him, and he still got it on Christmas anyway, so he was lucky. But it was so funny. Like I think about that all the time. But yeah, we got the DS, and I remember like having the red one. It broke because I was just bad with things, and then I got a blue one or a black one, and that's when I like really started playing Pokemon a lot. And I think I started with Gen 4, like Platinum and all that, which
Oh
was like
shit.
my childhood, and I
Yeah.
like loved it. I just played it nonstop, and then I got into like Pokemon cards and started getting my parents to buy me those. And I remember having like 2 full tins of just Pokemon cards that probably are worth
Jesus.
something now, but I got rid of them when
Yeah.
I like turned like 13 or something.
Well, that's
Now
the
I'm
thing.
just
We
like,
all were like, we've moved past this. Like, they're fun, but
yeah,
like, I don't have any need for them. And now they're like worth so much. You're like,
yeah.
fuck, damn it.
But I was a huge Pokemon nerd, and I still am. Like I watched like all the shows. Like every day before school, I would watch Pokemon at like 7:30 a.m. or something like that, and
Hell yeah.
I would watch the movies, buy the movies, whatever. So I've been like a huge Pokemon person. I think that's like been my main like gaming experience from like when I was younger. It was just mostly Pokemon, which is probably why I love it so much today.
So my question is, do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Oh, like a singular Pokemon, that's
Yes,
tough.
singular. I know that's hard.
There's there's like 900 Pokemon, and they just released the new
I need your
generation
favorite
too.
now. Wait, okay, so what's your favorite legendary Pokemon? Like one of the end game ones.
Oh, okay. I think Rayquaza used to be like my top
Hell
favorite.
yes.
And like Arceus is pretty badass.
Yeah.
I think my favorite like non-legendary is, well, at least one of them is Sylveon, the like evolution that's a fairy type.
Yeah.
So sick, so
It's
sick.
super
And I
cool.
love the like the shiny. So there's just so many Pokemon, and
Dude,
I
so
I
many.
love it.
So you've been playing like Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, like that whole era
Yeah.
recently a lot. What's your starter Pokemon for that
Oh,
of your choice?
Mudkip. Mudkip
Mudkip?
every time.
Thank you. That's always my go-to, dude. He's so
Mudkip.
awesome. Mudkip is so badass, dude. And he's cute as fuck. I
Yeah,
love him, dude.
I love Trico and Torchic as well, but I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's Mudkip, man. He's just too
Mudkip just
cool.
looks badass. Mudslide, baby.
Yeah.
Fucking sign me up. Um
I love it. I love it.
I actually, going back to what the consoles and stuff, you tell that story, it makes me laugh because it's funny because my first console really was GameCube because my friend like JP had one, and whenever I go to his house, I'd play with him. But I wanted a DS really fucking badly because I didn't have one, and everyone kept playing like Game Boy games and stuff like that, and I really wanted to play like Animal Crossing and Sims and shit and like Nintendogs, dude. That shit was slapped so
Yeah.
hard. But I didn't have one, and I feel so fucking bad. I've never told the story before. Um, one of my friends who was, one of the wealthier friends that I had, I was a very poverty kid, like I was a impoverished kid, and
Yeah.
one of my rich friends had like 4 DSIs,
Oh god.
and one of his had like a cracked screen on the top, like the top one that didn't really need to be used, the top one,
Yeah, yeah.
and he said, "Oh, you can have it." And I was like, "Yo, thank you so much." And then later in the day, I think he realized that like he could probably sell it or something. Like, okay, we were like 6, by the way. So like we was really young. I was really
Yeah.
young and he was really young. So we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. He then changed his mind. And I vividly remember this. Like after he said he would give it to me, he then changed his mind like later in the day, right before I was gonna leave. And because I was so excited, I cried because I was like, fuck, like
Yeah.
of course it's up to him, but like I cried. I was like, man, you said you would. And his
Yeah.
mom was around. And so she's like, just give him the DS.
Oh no.
And so I got the DSi that could play the DS games and the Game Boy games. But
Yeah.
like him and I didn't talk for like 2 weeks. But of course it moved on and didn't fucking matter because he had
That's
like the
so
DSi
funny.
and stuff as well. But it was the DS Lite. Sorry, he had the DSi, but he had the DS Lite is what I got. But like I felt super bad, and I still feel bad about it to this day. Even though like we were 6 and it didn't fucking matter. But like I
Yeah.
just remember that's how I got my DS Lite was he gave it to me because he had to because his mom made him. But like
That's so
that
funny.
that kind of like the Nintendogs, Sims, the first Animal Crossing, all of like the like Super Mario, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald were the three that I always had. Emerald was my favorite because I mean it conjoins all of them together.
Yeah.
Um, those were like the best, dude. I fucking love that. The original like Spyro, um, Crash, those were fucking great. All of the Mario
Crash.
Kart,
Oh, I
the
love that.
original Mario Kart with like the balloon battles. Oh my fucking god, dude, that shit
Mario Kart,
slapped.
like the Wii one, or do you like the DS one?
The DS one, I like the DS one. I never had a Wii, but like I just had my DS. But dude, that shit was so much fun.
Yeah.
What was that app on the DSi? And it was like the first thing. And it was like you could do pictures and you flip
Oh
through the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
pages. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
And
about.
they were like, it was like the OG TikTok if you think about it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you could go through that, and some of the ones that you would find are just like kids that are making shit. Like, how was that not like banned? Because the amount of shit that someone could write and no one would
Yeah.
know. Like, I'm thinking about it now. Like back in that innocent period of our lives, like I never saw anything bad. But thinking about it now, like you could literally draw a dick and like fucking something.
If it was today, 100% people would just like spam things like that just to mess with everyone.
Oh, 100%. But like I'm thinking about it now, like I never saw anything bad. And maybe it was just because maybe they did have a filter on there, but
Mhm.
like I never did. And I'm thinking about it now, like I could upload anything I wanted. And I remember getting likes. And mine were shitty. They were just like stick figures, like kicking things, and you could record your voice. Do you remember that?
I didn't actually know you could do
Yeah,
that.
you could record your voice and do like animations with the voices. And like I'm thinking about like, oh my God, so many things could be said. So many things could be said and done. Oh my God.
DS was so hype, but it has so
Yeah.
many like for me it has so many good memories, but there was like some points that are just like so funny. So there's like my brother on Christmas, and then I remember this one time. This is kind of crazy. This is like so I had platinum, Pokemon Platinum, of course, and I was playing it all the time. And my one friend, shall he'll stay unnamed, but he took my game. Like he lost his game. He was like, "Oh no, I lost my platinum. I don't know where it went." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like I don't know what to do about it, but I have mine."
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like I don't know what I was supposed to do about that.
Sucks to suck, dude.
Yeah. So he's at my house the one day, and I'm playing it like on my DS, and it was fine. It was there, and then all of a sudden he leaves, and like I walked with him back to his house or whatever, and then I went back to my house, and I went to go play Pokemon again, and my game was gone, and I was like, "What the hell?" So I didn't think of like anything of it. I was like, "Well, I lost my game. That sucks." And then I went to his house like 2, 3 days later, and he's like, "Look, I bought platinum again." And I was like, "You took my game. You
Wait,
took my game."
so like were you able to prove it?
I couldn't prove it, but it was just like it was so coincidental because it was just like it happened. Like my game went missing after he left, and then when I go to his house, he has platinum again. And I was like, "There's no way he bought it again." I
That
can't prove it to this day, but I swear to God, he stole
my
my
smart
game.
ass would go right to his mom and be like, "Hey, did you buy this for your son?" That's what I would have instantly gone because everything that I
Yeah,
had as a kid, I had gotten and I would hold on to because I knew that I wouldn't be able to buy it with myself because I never got an
yeah.
allowance or anything like that. My parents definitely couldn't buy it for me. So if I got something for a Christmas or something like that shit was mine and I took care of it. And I think that might be why I have such an OCD tendency now with like my video games and stuff. Like I take pristine care of them. And I think
Mhm.
it's because like when I was a kid, like I knew that if it broke, I wouldn't be able to get a new one.
Yeah, exactly. I would always like I sucked with it in the beginning because like with game discs, like if you place that on the floor or something, it's
Oh,
getting
dude.
scratched.
Oh yeah.
And I sucked at that, and my brother used to get so mad at me. So after enough of that, I just like I got so used to like taking care of the games and making sure that they never like are dirty or whatever.
I
And now
think
it's like,
that's.
yeah,
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
no, it's not good. It's
I
not good.
think that's why like DS and Game Boy did so well is because the cartridges were like foolproof for most part.
Oh yeah.
And so like, yeah, you could lose them pretty easily, but otherwise, like, you couldn't really like fuck up the game,
Oh my!
you
I have
know?
so many stories about DS. It's so cool. It was
DS
just
was a
like
beast though.
it owned the market at the time, and it was super cool. Because I
Yeah.
remember my brother had his DS stolen the one time,
What?
which is something. So his one friend who I never liked, I could just tell he was not not a very
Kevin,
good
he's an
person.
ass.
Yeah.
He's a 12-year-old kid I used to know. Kevin's such a fucking dick, dude.
Kevin's an asshole, man. But so the one time my brother's sleeping, I don't know why, but this guy like showed up to our house, and then for some reason my mom let him in, and he comes
Wait, did you not know him?
downstairs. No, like my brother was friends with him.
Okay, I thought
Yeah, yeah,
I thought
like,
yeah, my first time my brother met Kevin. My mom, he just showed him our house. My mom was like, "Oh, he's probably one of my son's friends," and let him in. And that's how our friendship began.
They were friends, but like Malik was sleeping, so like she opens the door for him and lets him in out, even though he was sleeping. I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I'm not gonna like do anything about it. It's not my friend, so I just kept to myself. And then apparently he like went down there when my brother was sleeping. I guess he saw he was sleeping, but he didn't like wake him up or anything. And then he ended up leaving, and my brother woke up like later, and he was like looking for his DS, and it was gone. So then he went upstairs and he was like asking everybody. And I think my mom mentioned that she let his friend in. And then he basically put two and two together and was like, well, then he took my DS because like he went in my room, and then all of a sudden he left. And
Yeah.
he ended up confronting him about it, and he did actually have his DS and got it back. So
Kevin, what a dick.
yeah. Kevin's a dick, man.
Dude,
Kevin's a fucking dick.
interesting time back in the day when like
Yeah.
your parents could just let people in, like you didn't really have to worry about shit, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Dude, such a weird. I remember I actually talked about that with JP when I had him on. We were talking about childhood and stuff. Like we with like fireworks, we literally like broke apart all the fireworks and put a pile of gunpowder on the pavement and lit it on fire. Do you know how fucking
Jesus.
dangerous that shit is? Like
Yeah,
we were
I've had that
dumb
same
shit.
thing. That's so funny.
But like that's when you're a kid, you don't have to worry about like when you had friends over, like they would just come over and you would get up to the craziest shit. Have you seen the movie Boyhood?
I don't think I have, no.
There's a movie. Anyone listening, like definitely go watch this film. It's fantastic. They filmed it over the course of like 18 years, and it follows the kid's life. And like of course like it wasn't just following a kid's life. Like it's a fictional story where they filmed the same actors and actresses over the course of 18 years and made a movie called Boyhood, which follows a kid growing up. And so it goes through all of the years, and each section of the movie is like a different point in his life. And you get to see him grow up. And like it is such there will always be one part of that movie, at least for me, if you're a guy, like there will always be one part of the movie that you can relate to
Mhm.
because it just hits every single fucking topic. And there's a section where it's just him in the backyard alone at like 6 poking at a dead bird. And every time I'm just like, that's such a like as a young boy, that's such a thing that you would do. Yeah, like you know that it's probably got diseases. You know you're not probably supposed to touch it, but you're so intrigued by it that you're going to. And then on
Yeah.
top of that, like there's another scene. I can't. It was just him like following these other kids around that are older, and they're like smashing shit in a in like a broken down building, and they have beer, and he like takes one even though he's really young, and
Yeah.
like they're throwing saw blades at like the construction like wood, and
Jesus.
like you do dumb dangerous shit because everyone else is doing it, and you're just having a good time, not knowing full well that you could hurt yourself, but you just do it anyway. Like
Yeah.
what at least for me growing up, like me and my friends would go out and we would rollerblade, but then we'd find trees and try to climb the trees in our rollerblades. Like, why? There's no, you're such a dumb fucking thing. It's wheels. You're gonna roll down the fucking trunk of the tree. Like, it's so
That's so
stupid.
funny.
And we'd
Yeah,
fall and fucking bust our like our elbows and shit. And like, you're just a different breed when you're younger. It's just
yeah.
you're literally just a different kind of person when you're younger. It's so stupid. You do
That's
dumb
like
shit.
here. It's like anytime it would snow when we were younger, there would be like snow piles because they have to like,
Mm.
push it up with the snowmobiles or whatever, the snow plows. And for some reason, no matter how often it happened, we would always go to the top of the hills and we just play King of the Hill and we just push each other off. And it'd be like these tall
Dude.
snow
Yeah.
freaking hills, and we just push each other off to the bottom. Or like we'd slide across the ice on purpose, even though we weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. It was so dumb, but it was so fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's like you're king of the world at that point in your time because
Yeah,
you have no responsibilities besides school, which at the time at that age, I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but I remember in like middle school, school's so fucking easy, dude.
yeah,
It was such a breeze. And so like you go to school, it was just a mandatory thing, but you come home, then you fucking play video games and hang out with your friends and you
yeah,
do dumb
exactly.
shit. And it was like that for like 3 years. And at that point, you feel like you have no fucking worries because you get food when you go home. Normally, you're at that point where like you're kind of picky, so you normally just have hot dogs, hot pockets, and fucking mac and cheese, you know.
Yeah.
And you play video games and you hang out with your friends and do dumb shit. That's literally that. Life is fucking peachy keen. Um,
Yeah, not a
it's
worry in the world.
not a worry of the world. Oh my god. No, highly recommend that movie. Boyhood is fantastic. It touches on some heavy topics, just a heads up, but a great movie. Great fucking movie.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
damn dude. Yeah. That shit always makes me laugh.
I remember, getting banned from Walmart the one time.
You got banned from Walmart when you were a kid?
Yeah, and it's, like, in the same city that I live in now too, so
Can you still go back there now?
Oh, yeah, they probably don't even recognize me.
What
They, like
what happened?
it wasn't even anything, like, too serious. You like, have you seen the people who, like, made toilet paper forts on YouTube and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes. Me and my one friend, we
Oh
go
no.
in there and we're starting to build one. We went kind of over the top and we went to like other aisles and started grabbing like chairs and stuff to like put in there and like a rug and all that. So we had like stuff. We're gonna make like a whole nice, comfortable toilet paper for it, and we were doing it. And some guy comes around and you know, he got all angry and then kicked us out. And he was like, "Don't ever come back here. You're banned from Walmart." And we were like, "Oh, okay." And we just walked away.
Okay, thanks.
They didn't like take our picture, so it wasn't like a real ban. He probably just like realized we're like kids and he like wanted to scare us or whatever. But yeah,
So
banned
funny.
from Walmart, man.
Dude, you're such a rebel, my guy.
I know.
God
I'm a
damn.
bad boy.
I'm such a bad boy, dude. Fuck. Um, dude, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me today. It was a lot of fun. I know I had an idea to just talk about the moving thing, and we kind of just went off from there. But
Yeah,
that's the lovely thing about this. And I there's just so many times that people have asked like, oh, why don't you do like a video version? I really like the fact that like you don't have to worry about being on camera. I don't have to worry about being on camera. We can
yeah,
just talk and like there's no stress at all.
yeah,
It's just
exactly.
you and me having a conversation. And I like that it went from the moving thing to Nintendo to just like school skills and now just being banned at Walmart.
Yeah,
It went in a whole fucking arc and it was beautiful.
it's great.
But dude, Ox, thank you so much for being on, and you get a little section here to plug yourself a little bit. Tell the people where you're at, where to find you, and I'll put it in the description as well. But
Hell
fucking go
yeah.
for it, man.
So first of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me. It's been an honor to be here. You know, I've been a fan of your show for years, so
Shut
it's
up.
just it's. But yeah, if you want to go follow me over on twitch.tv/Oxhnn and twitter.com/Oxhnn or youtube.com/Oxhnn. All the same. Oxhnn, since it
Hell
is
yeah,
spelled a little bit differently.
hell yeah. And what kind of things do you do on your stream, dude? What besides Pokemon?
Well, mainly just play games at the moment. I'm just saving up for a PC so I can do more, but I'm just a variety streamer in terms of video games. So I try to play a lot. I want to play Elden Ring at some point, so that'd be fun.
Hell yeah, dude. I'll watch the shit out of you playing that, dude. Be awesome.
You better watch the shit out of that.
All right, dude. Hey, I appreciate you very, very much. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon. Okay.
Yeah, see you in a bit, man.
Everybody, go give a follow over to Ox's stuff. All the stuff is down in the description. You can check it out there. Also, thank you for listening to the podcast as always. I hope that you enjoyed your time with Ox and me, and enjoyed the conversations. Hopefully, got a laugh. And and I'll see you all in the next episode. But until then, make sure to eat your apples and stay funky, my dudes. Peace. Bye.